Good morning, Augusto. Could you tell me your full name? Because I'm not good
I got it. Yeah, my full name is Jair Augusto Sanchez.
at Augusto Sanchez. Well, Augusto, I want to tell you, I was out on Miami Beach on Art Basel weekend, and I was buzzing around through the apocalypse of traffic, and I saw this truck, and it took me a little bit because it was so foreign to me what it was doing that I had to try to figure it out. And I found myself driving next to this truck for a couple blocks real slow, just looking and looking. And I realized that what this truck was a mobile, basically a gallery. There was art hung on there, and there was a phone number. And so I grabbed that phone number, and I've been terrorizing you for this interview because your truck is, I know you don't probably think in the context of entrepreneurs, but here you are at the biggest art weekend in Miami. $100,000 bananas being bought off of walls and called art. I mean, it was a spectacle that was Art Basel. And here you are outside, and you are disrupting the business model. As an entrepreneur, that's the holy grail, to be a disruptor. You basically were saying, I don't have the $1,500 or $2,000 a day to pay for the a booth inside, but the street is free, and I'm a street artist, so this is my turf. I laughed. I not laughing at you. I was just floored because necessity drives innovation, and you've kind of really woke me up. Now, the flip side of the coin was, as I eventually got a little bit, I won't say sad, but a little melancholy, because I realized that what you were saying was I can't come in. And I think that's a topic we need to have too, while we're talking here. So, Augusto, tell me about who you are, where you came from, how you came to be here in Miami. Because you obviously have an accent, so I'm assuming that you didn't start out the adventure here in Miami. So tell me your story.
Okay, Gary. First and all, thank you for having me here. The story starts, a long time ago. When, as a kid, I have all this creativity, connection with everything. I start seeing everything in a creative way. And then I realized that I wanted to be in the business of advertising and marketing. So basically, I went to the university and
What university?
in Colombia. In Colombia, yeah, I came to the Central University in the city of Bogota.
Okay.
And I started my career as an advertising,
Okay.
Advertising and marketing, and that was the first thing I started taking my ideas, following purposes. At the beginning, it was your mind just creating, but you are flying in different ways. So I went to the university. When I finished the career, my focus was also always creative. I was not that much into the marketing and strategic things. And it was really hard at that time to be able to start working in advertising agencies as creative, because, it's a very close media. But for surprise, the first time I created something and I knocked the doors in an advertising agency, I got the job right away. So it was almost 15 years that I worked with advertising agencies. I was lucky to win as many awards as I want. I worked for multinational advertising agencies. I worked for Ogilvy and Mather. I worked for John and Ruby, Y&R. I worked for Bates, which is another multinational advertising agency. And being a creative person or director, because I started being a copywriter, but then the graphic part, the design was calling my attention, and I was, okay, I'm gonna be able to do both. Because in the advertising agencies, you always have two departments, the copywriters and then the graphic artists. But for me, it was kind of easy to create the whole concept of campaign. That's what put me basically in the maps of the agencies looking for creative people. And that's the way I also came to the country, to the United States. It was 1999. I have an injury in a trip in my knee, and I have my cousin here in Miami who told me, Anytime you want to come to Miami, just come here for vacation. The ocean is beautiful. Miami is beautiful. So I decided just to come for vacations, stay like a month. But then something in my mind was telling me, bring your portfolio. You have a great portfolio. You have been seen for many great creative directors who are telling you you are a great mind. You have a beautiful mind, and you have to work that blessing that you have, because there is something you have inside to share more with the world. So I came here, and it was funny too, because my English was like a little, but I really understand some things. But nothing never stopped me to go to the advertising agencies. At that moment, I tried to move to New York, and I was looking all these buildings for the advertising agencies that I used to work, Bates, UPY&R, and you see there are these massive buildings, they're like banks. And even though speaking well the language, I start calling, and it happened the same thing. The first call that I made, I met this guy, he's a TV producer. Started talking to him, telling what he was looking for. I was kind of titled advertising agencies because as a graphic artist, you are almost all the time 8 hours in front of a computer. You're creating every day something, which is the motivation, for you to be there. But being in front of a computer 8 hours is kind of exhausted, your eyes are tired. So I was trying to see if I was able to work in the production business. I wanted to see more action. After this interview with this guy, basically the advertising agencies, most for the Hispanic market, opened the doors to me. So I came, hired by an advertising agency in Houston called, the name is Lopez Negret. At that time, I don't know, it was the largest advertising agency for the Hispanic market. Okay, so that was like my second big movement in my artistic career. Yeah. But then I have this love for pure creativity, for conceptual creativity, because there is ideas that they just work for to be crazy, just not following a concept. But then I have the structure in my mind that I have to create something, and the thing has to be trying to be under an objective. Yeah, you have the client have an objective within you, and when you have that product, the product has a job to do. That's what the reason you are advertising agency and experts. So I start creating these amazing campaigns. I always was hearing from my boss and from the agency owner, wow, this campaign is gonna get an award. It's getting an award, and yeah, those ads got awards. But I have this frustration because the ad, it was never shown as the final product as the same way I created. So I start notice that the clients do with your ideas whatever they want. Right? They basically destroy your ideas. It's no respect. When you hire a doctor or when you go to see a doctor or a lawyer, you listen and you let them do what they supposed to do. They are the professional ones. In advertising, it was completely different. The client, is the products, so they hire the creative mind, and then when you show them the products, they just say that's beautiful, and they start changing everything. I want the logo as this big, this blue, move the product like this. So I was not happy. I was like, no, being able to liberate my creativity, 100%. I was not feeling free. But I have also this fascination for art. But I didn't have any time where I just wanted, or I was thinking I wanted to be an artist. I know how to paint because when I was little, my dad used to take me to contests, and I was different contests painting as a kid. But I have that, like that empty space. I know being creative. So one of the art directors that I used to work here, we start working in production. I start being second hand for art directors. So I work for videos for Shakira, for Ricky Martin, for Cristian Castro, for all these Latin artists in making the shows in the United States. So I started learn something else. And this art director, he was an artist too. But he was in his career for like more than 13 years at the time I met him. His name is Rudolf Kohn, a great artist, a great friend. So one day, Rudolf, he used to paint a lot. He used to paint a lot and had many pieces, but sometimes he didn't have pieces. He has pieces that he didn't like it. So he put those on rolls. One day we were, after a video, we were organizing his storage. And he told me, Henny, you want to get those canvases? I know you seen, they are already painted, but you can paint on top. So he gave me also some acrylic colors. And that way I start painting and I start a new career. I left production. And then for almost, let's say, 10, 15 years, I've been an artist full-time. Full-time. I do also because, art is a profession that is very unstable.
You gotta have a side hustle.
Yeah. It's a lot of up and downs. You need to be, as I used to say, if you want to be an artist in any different expression, as a musician, as a poet, whatever, you got to be a warrior.
Yeah.
You have to forget about the old times when the artists were just beautiful souls.
Yeah.
Because you just mentioned all the artists are entrepreneurs.
That's right.
But there is a big problem they didn't teach you to be an entrepreneur. So one of the hardest thing for many artists is to sell their art.
That's right. And that what I see from the art world is, and I try to get other artists in here for interviews, is that really the business aspect of it just is a mystery. And I don't mean that to be disparaging in any way, shape, or form, but there's that passion, the creativity, and then there's like a disconnect with the idea of how do I monetize this? How does this become a business?
Exactly. And you see the story. You see great artists as Van Gogh, almost died,
giving their product away.
Yeah, he was a time when he was putting all his art pieces on the street, and he was telling, I'm pretty sure that not even the trash truck is gonna pay them. His brother was selling more art than him, because he didn't have, the programmation of their minds was kind of, let's make artists poor.
Yeah, and really, I think artists almost wear that like a badge of honor, to be poor, and I wish we could break that. Because here's the thing about it that worries me, and why I wanted to bring artists into this conversation about entrepreneurs. I have seen in my lifetime this progression away from artistic things. And really the artist now, in my mind, has to just fight tooth and nail desperately to hold on to their passion. Because, I see music programs that are eliminated and art programs that are eliminated, and it's just this tick, tick, tick. It's not a big wholesale migration. It's the tick, tick, tick. And what scares me is that if we as a civilization lose the artist, we lose the creativity. And the connection that I wanted to make in this podcast was that connection between the artist and the entrepreneur. Because we're going to go through a major inflection point in our country right now with artificial intelligence and technology. It's going to be very disruptive to the workplaces. Jobs are going to be in flux for a couple decades right now because of what's about ready to happen. And it's going to take entrepreneurs to change that. And it's going to take artists to change that. We've got to keep that creativity alive. And that's why I wanted you to come in here, because your story is so awesome. And I love the fact that you've chronologically laid this out so that someone else can look at that as an example and go, I can do it. He came from a much tougher situation than I did. That's the example that I want you to offer to people. But more importantly, I'm just blown away by the fact that you took this art mindset and moved it into marketing.
There is no question that the person or the energy who's creating everything is absolutely an artist.
We are art.
Yeah, so we are art. And the only force that made the transition of the humans and the world and every species to transform is creativity.
It's the only thing that differentiates us, and that's what differentiates us from everything else on this planet. We are that creative, was a leap beyond utilitarian, and that's what I'm. We have to preserve that, and I hope it thrives because um, what you do is so fun. I mean, I've looked at your material and in what you create, and it's just so awesome. Do you still have a gallery down in Coyocho?
No,
And just for the viewer, Coyocho is 8th Street, which is Little Havana.
the little Haiti, the Cuban, and it's a beautiful street because Cubans had they had an amazing art in all different expressions.
I go down to Coyocho and walk in the afternoons, and every time I go down there, I fall just a little bit more in love.
It's just fun. It's just fun.
I went to Yambo the other day, and I'm pretty sure I left with 2 pounds of food. I mean, it was insane. I thought it was just me, and then I looked around, and everybody had these just piles of food on the. Yeah, I mean, it's just an amazing culture.
Yeah, it's an amazing culture, and when you go to Cuba, it's even more. You see the the repression. When you having those moments or of need,
Yeah.
your brain start giving you ideas. That's what I think. Most of the more amazing products or ideas were born in situations of after the war or with desperation. Because you can see easily an artist who is living a life of let's say full of commodities and someone who is struggling. So the one probably having a beautiful life is gonna paint beautiful things. Maybe he's gonna paint apples, he's gonna paint butterflies, beach scenes, whatever they have in their mind at the moment. The other one has this battle with life and dreams and surviving and struggling. He's gonna start painting more from his soul. So even if you have two beautiful elements as paintings, there is one that is gonna touch other different souls more deeply. The other one is more attracted to the eyes as a beautiful thing. The other one is gonna hit you, gonna make you think, wow.
More introspective.
More introspective. Yeah. So but the beautiful thing about the artwork is open to every kind of expression. So that's beautiful. So in being already there in the artwork as a full artist, I start looking, okay, how I'm gonna sell this thing? For me, I didn't have the experience. So what is gonna be the venue? What is gonna be? So I start knowing about these outdoor art shows.
Yeah.
Where you can apply. Yeah. You pay. Yeah, about food. Yeah. You know the worst enemy is the weather. but it's gonna happen to everybody. Even if you are in Cartier store in the heating. It's like this. I know.
A couple months ago, they had an art show in Boca, and they poured cats and dogs, and I felt terrible.
My God, I have seen boots flying away with art and everything. But it's part of the life, Life puts you challenges to see how weak you are, or how strong or grateful you are. For me, even if the boot were falling apart, I was like, God, I was doing my job, and I'm the happiest person, and I'm completely wet, but I'm going to continue because dreams and challenges, and you want to go far, you have to be strong.
You have to have thick skin.
Exactly. So then I learned that basically having good sales, when I started doing these shows, I was making really good money. The best tool that we have to make money is our brain.
Yeah.
I have to think. I have to think how I'm going to be able to reach all these crowds, not letting the promoters take
a piece of your action.
A piece of the action, the whole thing. So at that moment, I opened the gallery. I tried the gallery first.
And
the Calle Ocho. And the people who rent me the space, is a beautiful building, told me, almost every day you're going to have 3 buses that come with tourists. And these people want to buy something. So I was so excited, it's a lot of people in the bus coming, trying to get something to a moment for their houses.
Yeah.
And the days start passing. I have a great decoration because I have a good sense as a interior designer too. I start seeing these people is not coming in. It's not coming in because the tourists are looking for souvenirs. Yeah. if they're in my it's $20, 50. It's they want the keychains with the something from Miami with the flamenco. They want the picture in South Beach where you say "Welcome to Miami." They're not conceptualizing. They're not feeling their the needs at that moment. They're just having fun. So I have that frustration. I was like, it's gonna be almost 6 months, and sales are being low, minimal. So I have this idea of the truck like a year before I have the gallery. I was thinking, it will be nice to see a truck with walls, and I start creating the prototype. The prototype is beautiful because I bought a truck, one truck,
Whacked it up and started.
I start playing. It looks exactly as the product that you saw because it's something that I used to do as a art director too. I'm a prop master. So whatever you want me to build, I can build it for you. Yeah, I do mock-ups, and as it's another ability that I have. I can put effects or whatever I can. I'm very artistic with my hands too.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know how it was gonna happen. I started looking for used trucks. They are less expensive, and sometimes I have to wait because then I have to do also let's say my regular job and have a production companies too. So they hiring for 2 weeks. So I 2 weeks busy. Then I have to paint something because people need to see painting. So time was tough. Trying to then I have my son and I wanted to see my son too. I have fun with him. So some weekends I cannot do anything, and I just have this moment going every night to bed. How I'm gonna do this? How I'm gonna do this? And one day, one of my collectors asked me for some paintings, and he invited me to his house, and he saw some of the pieces, and he made a really good. I made a really good sell, and I said, this is gonna be the money to start the business. But then I have many other things that I have behind to pay, and I start spending this money, and again, wow, it was not this the venue that I was feeling. It was gonna make the dream happen. But one day, there is always a day where magic happens, and I start changing things in magic ways. I call miracles or blessings. This collector, I told him the day when I sold the pieces. I told him, this is gonna help me because I have this dream. I told the story to him, and one day he called me and he say, Augusto, I wanna give you the money for the truck. I told him, okay, I would love to do a partner, for this venue. And he was not seeing everything as expecting something. So for me, that was a big surprise because, sometimes looking for partners is tough because they also want to take a big chunk of the cake. So I feel, the gratitude. I didn't know it was going to happen because, sometimes people talk, but it's a lot of money too. Yeah, truck is the idea. You have to start that idea with no less than $20,000. So for like 6 months, sometimes he came back and mentioned, hey, Augusto, I'm thinking seriously in your idea. And it was like, I'm very open. I'm just ready. I have everything. I have the tools. I can transform that any truck you gave me probably in a month in what I want. And he saw the prototype. And one day he called me and she started sending me photos of some of the trucks that he saw. I'm choking the kind of truck that I need. I told him, this one is good, that this is the perfect size. And finally one day he called me from a dealer, from a car dealer, truck dealers. And he said, Augusto, come to pick up your truck. But like, no way. No, let me tell you, because this is very important and this is very important in the future. When he was telling me he was going to help me with the idea, one day he kind of stopped telling me because, he was traveling, doing a lot of fun things. And it was like, he has the money to do a lot of stuff. So he's having fun. Probably anytime he goes for vacations, he's spending a lot. he has two daughters in the university. He's supporting the daughters. So I was just grateful for his intention, but for me, I know it was gonna be also hard for someone to put that money in the table. So when I started having this silence in the room, not getting more feedback from him, one day I sent him a message. And that's something that I know that I'm going to make it happen. And I told him just something like this. He's a doctor. Doctor, if you buy me a truck, I'm going to buy you a Ferrari. He loves Ferraris. So that's the challenge that I put in my mind. I told him, I'm pretty sure that this business, I'm going to turn this business in something successful. And for me, the way you helped me with that much gratitude that I'm going to have in my heart, I'm going to be so happy to give you the Ferrari. Yeah. So that's kind of the way the story happens. And then I have my truck.
Augusto, I want to tell you something. You're an entrepreneur, period. You think like an entrepreneur, you talk like an entrepreneur, you just happen to be an artist. And I think that your story is just so awesome. I got to shut this interview down. We've got more people coming in, but I want you to do me a favor. That door is always open.
Thank you so much. You got it. Thank you so much.
Come back, give us updates. I want to hear more. I want to hear the progress. And do me a favor, find me some more artists from in the Latin.
I will. And please let me just give you the last advice for any artist or any entrepreneur or person that you have in this room. There is, I told my son, there is 3 ways to do things. You can do the things in a bad way and nothing is going to happen. You can do the good things, your good art, but it's many good artists, so that is going to happen. Then you can be exceptional artist, and then that is going to make you look different. But for me, the final step, or the one that can bring you further, is be unique. Absolutely. Because when you are unique, there is no comparison.
And that's why I call.
And when you have that uniqueness, you need to have something in your heart too, which is faith.
Yeah.
When you have faith, and faith is the belief in something 100%. It's not a weak faith. You gotta be faith and divine connection. That is gonna manifest whatever you have in your mind.
Thank you,
Gary. Thank you so much. It's a pleasure being here always.
Be well.